In this video, we're going to be working with strings. Now, we've assigned variables to strings in the past, so we're going to start off by doing the exact same thing here. So we're going to have a name, and we're going to set this name to Ryan. And remember, when we set our strings, we can use single quotes or double quotes. It doesn't matter which you use. It's just probably better off to keep consistent. So if you use double quotes, to just keep using double quotes, or if you're using single quotes, to use single quotes. So if you use double quotes, it can be more beneficial, because if you have a long string and you have words like don't that have an apostrophe in it, the compiler can get a little bit confused. But if you're just naming variables like this, like one or two words, then using single quotes for that is absolutely fine. But we're going to use double quotes for this, and the first thing we're going to do, just to make sure that our program is working, is we're going to go and print out our variable. We just want to make sure that our program is working and that there's no other small little problems that we've missed somehow. So this is good, it's working, it's printing out our name, but we want to try and do something else. So if we had a second variable, let's say we have a second name. So we'll call this name2, and we'll set this equal to a new name, and we're going to just set it equal to Chris. And since we've named this name2, I'm going to just change the name on the first variable we created to name1. And you can see if we print out name1, we get Ryan. If we print out name2, we get Chris. And we can combine these together. So if we had something like name1, and then we wanted to add something to it, so we'll add that second variable, we see that now Ryan and Chris gets printed out. Now Ryan and Chris are both stuck together. There should be a space in between, so to get around this, you could do something like put a space after the name Ryan, and we can run this and we can see that there's now a space between Ryan and Chris. Or if we didn't want to do this, we could do something like this. We could have plus, and then we have our quotes, and put a space inside our quotes, and then put another plus sign between our space that we've put in here and the name to the second variable that we want to add. And we can see we get the exact same output. So now that we've got this printed out, we've got Ryan and Chris, we could do something else. So we could go and put a word in between this. So we could have something like and when we put and in here, again, we're going to have a similar problem with the spacing, because we're going to have Ryan and the word and stuck together, and then we're going to have a space and Chris. So to do this, we can just put a space before our and we get Ryan and Chris. And then after our second variable is displayed, we can add in more text. So we could say something like love to code. And again, we need to put a space in here, otherwise Chris and love to code will be pushed together. And we also need to use this plus operator to tell the computer that we want the whole sentence to be together. And now you can see we get this sentence that says Ryan and Chris love to code. So that's good. That's one way that we can, create a sentence from a couple of variables. And then we could go and change this. So we could take out Chris and we could put in Amy. And then if we run this code, we can see Ryan and Amy love to code. And we didn't have to change anything in our print statement here. We just changed the one variable in one place, and that allowed us to change our whole program. And we could go and change this from Amy back to Chris and run this again, and now we get Ryan and Chris love to code. But this way of setting our variable names, then using the plus operator and adding in these sentences or words, and then using our plus operator and having to have spaces it's a little bit annoying. So there must be a better way that we can go and do this. And there is. It's called using string templates. And we can use string templates in Python quite simply. But before I do that, I just want to show you something else that we can do within Python. So, for example, we can see that our two variables here, name1 and name2, have got Chris and Ryan assigned to it. And if we wanted to get the length of a certain variable, we can do this quite simply. And to do this, we can use a len function. So to do this, just type in len, L-E-N, open your round brackets, and then type in whatever variable you want to get the length of. So in this example here, we're going to get the length of name2, which is Chris, which will be 4. So you can see we have 4 here. But if we were to change this name2 back to Amy, Amy only has 3 letters, so we're going to get 3 as our output. So that might just be something that you find useful in the future. But now we're going to get back to using a string template. So I'm not going to actually delete this line, but what I am going to do is comment it out so it can just be a reference point. So to start off this new way, using our string template, we're going to start off by using print. So we could say something like this, hello, and then we could put in Ryan. So we could go and open and close a set of curly brackets. And then after our string, we do dot format. And then within our round brackets, we type whatever variable we're going to use. So in this case, I'm going to say hello to myself. So it's going to say hello Ryan. And we can see hello Ryan gets displayed. And notice that we have no extra spaces or anything like that that's needed in between. We've got a space between hello here. So if we were to run this without, having a space between hello and the curly brackets, it would be together. But we put a space in there to ensure that there's always going to be a white space between our words. If we wanted to change this to say hello to Chris, we could just replace this name1 at the end with name2. And we can see now it says hello Amy, because we set Amy to our second name here. But if we were to set this back to Chris, it would say hello Chris. We don't just want to use one variable within our string that we're going to create. We want to use multiple variables. So to do this, you could do something like this. You could put in a second set of curly brackets, and you could put in a comma after name2, and then you could put in name1. And if you go and run this, you can see we see hello Chris and then Ryan. You're probably getting an idea of how this works. So we're going to just switch these names. We're going to switch name1 and name2. So now it says hello Ryan and then Chris. We don't actually need hello in our sentence, so we can get rid of the word hello. And after hello, we want to say and. So we could type something like this. Just type and in here. And now we get Ryan and Chris. So notice there was no need for double or single quotation marks, or there's no need to worry about space and things like that. And then after this, we wanted to say love to code. And now if we go and run this, we can see Ryan and Chris love to code. And this, in my opinion, is just a better way. It's an easier way to read the code and make changes, and you're not worried about little small silly mistakes like 2 words being stuck together, or it doesn't have enough white space or something like that. Now this is the bare bones of what you can do with string templates, but you can do something different. So you could have something like this. Let's say n1, right? And then we'd have n2. So n1 and n2, which is short for name1 and name2. And we need to assign these if we want to go and do it like this. So we could have something like this. We could have n1, and we want to set that equal to the name1, and we want to have n2, and we want to set that equal to the name to. If we go and run this, we get the exact same output. So this is just another way that you can do this. This is usually good if you have multiple variables. So maybe you have 5 variables or 4 variables as part of your string template, and you're finding it hard to keep track of them with just the name that's given here. So name 1 and name 2. So you can go and rename it to something else inside here, inside your curly brackets. So this is just something that might help you when using strings.